It's Red Dead Redemption 2. Killing Americans is the only thing of value to do with them. I think that's a fairly accurate representation. I don't know what you're supposed to do with an American. I don't like these people. I really just do not like these people. I heard some people talking that were from the Citadel earlier today, despite what a hearing impaired person I know has insisted my entire life. People often pick up things which are within earshot of them and just listen to a complete second conversation. Whenever I go to a restaurant, I'm pretty much eating and watching every single person in the, like, if we have an adjacent booth or table or something, I'm aware you're there. You know, like, I know about your party, you know, like who's in your, you know, how many people are in your group. So there's like a couple people from the Citadel, and they're just like, oh, you're such fucking, you know what I mean? You're such pieces of shit. Like, just such typical what you expect of somebody that goes to the Citadel. I have absolutely no respect for that so-called college. I know somebody that went there that came back with like cigarette burns all over himself and like all sorts of really shitty stories. And I like knew that guy whenever he was like middle school, high school, you know, before he went to college over a couple years. So, and then to make the matters worse, after like a year or two of being at that college, his ex-girlfriend like had her like current boyfriend punch him, and he like fell down a flight of stairs at a party in a cabin. And yeah, that's just like a fucked up thing to do to somebody. And that's just the kind of people they were. And she laughed her ass off at it. She thought it was hilarious. She loved the fact that they were competing for her attention. She did not care one bit about what happened to him or her, or the fact that he was at least like trying to make like a display. As weird and pathetic as it was, you know, I mean, like, there's got to be some kind of amount of like humanization. The immediate interaction, I was there as it went down, like literally standing there. I had classes with this girl. I had talked to her about every boyfriend she had ever had, basically, right? So, like, and she had had a quick succession of boyfriends, which went from, like, this one, which was her, like, primary original boyfriend. Her mom knew him. They, like, hung out a lot, and everybody associated them together, right? Yeah, so that, and then she dated some guy from like a dance thing or something, and then she dated this one guy because he had a houseboat, even though he was like 30 something. He was like, you know, 32, but he had a houseboat. Hey, and 18. So, and that dude punched this guy in the jaw. I don't think he may not have even been that old. He's probably like 22. That's like effectively 32, like 22 with plutocrat parents or somebody somewhere in the middle of that with some nepotistic edge. You know, much like being, you know, after a certain point, it's all money. It has nothing to do with age, you know. Really, even while you're young and in elementary school, it's already like that. Money is basically all there is that exists. It's another thing. I have to listen to this boomer tell me that, you know, well, money's not everything. It's like, money's not everything. It's such an old, stale take. Like, economists, capitalists think it's much more revolutionary to realize that literally everything is only energy, and we've tokenized energy in the form of currency. And, like, everything has an owner because we have property rights for every object. So just, like, you follow these philosophical tenets and you arrive at the conclusion that, you know, everything is money at this point because we've tokenized it and we've assigned distributions of it. So if you're trying to get anything that's real in this world, you're going to require currency to barter for it, right? Just point blank. So anything you do, you know, every life is a function of currency expenditure and nothing else. And you can consider fiat, non-human made currencies. So oxygen is a currency, you know, is a currency in the ecosystem of your bloodstream, right? So you think along these lines and you recognize that ultimately, while, you know, just simply having money does not guarantee happiness, it is virtually impossible to achieve happiness if what you desire does, you know, not align with your bank account. And reality, I mean, it's just like the heart what's what the heart wants. And, you know, this guy has also mocked me. He mocked me openly for wanting to get a homestead, basically. And he came out later after he mocked me and apologized. And his apology wasn't really an apology. It was an explanation. It was, oh, you just understand those things cost, like, you know how much those cost? You know, it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, you know, to get a homestead if you want to get a little bit of land in the United States somewhere. So, I mean, it's just laughable that you would ever get that amount of money, because I'm Mr. Moneybanks. I'm the smart person who always makes all the good decisions. That's why we have such a dysfunctional, you know what I mean? That's what I'm dealing with. It's just like absolute pathological narcissism. Does not understand or empathize in the least, does not know anything about me, does not know any of the people or the characters or the key moments or events in my life, you know, yet wants to pontificate and try to, like, put any comment in or have any kind of thing otherwise. Thinks that they can be negative and aggressive and mean and then still portray the presentation of somebody who is constantly always friendly and nice and never anything else, right? And, you know, does not ever in any way acknowledge or make any concession on any point, whereas I'm somebody who does. You know, I will make concessions and accommodations for, you know, it's like I'll modify and amend, but there's no sort of like, okay, well, you're right, maybe I was a little bit harsh there, sorry. Like, that's never going to be a thing. That's the kind of, like, failure of leadership that I'm experiencing. Just to be blunt. And it's like, I don't know that it's fair to hold. It's all toxic. I'd rather just be completely away and never, ever, ever, ever even have one word. You know, there's no point. Not even a single word. There's not one thing to say. Just a mountain of wasted time and a whole heap of gaslighting. Everything is just resources and access to resources, and then what you do with it. You know, in part, it's like you, it's what you want to do, why you want to do it. You know, what would you do with money? But I think once you arrive at just kind of the understanding of what is the essential best, I've already described at length what I think is best many times. It's a fluid outline. Is basically the same damn thing as what's in this game, your end game ranch, except for in a modern situation, modern scenario. The internet. See, I wish that it was like this, because I'd do fine in a world like this. I'd be healthier, probably, you know, just like at least athletically until I wasn't, you know what I mean? I may like burn out younger and like not have, you know, things might have been rougher, but I would have probably have been much more like rugged and accustomed to deal with it, you know what I mean? Instead of growing old and maybe retaining a bit of youthfulness you get very rugged and like worn out in a world like this, but at least in youth you're fully like activated. This is like 100% core activity riding a horse like this. You have to remain engaged for hours. You're running around everywhere. You're doing physical labor. You know, just your natural capabilities. Intelligence goes a long way because things were just so much more simpler back then. The ability to affect your environment has always been what makes humans unique amongst animals. The ability to create tools and recognize and examine our environment. Respond. Plan to create change. Because every animal kind of does that in some way, but like we're just the bestest, obviously, as far as we know. It really does feel like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's like, who's this weird person that like took the young psychiatrist full of promise? So this is not that person. At some point they killed that guy and then snuck this dude in.
It's easier to carry that on in your hand than holster it. That's it. Keep going. That's it. Keep going. That son of a bitch.
But yeah, fuck the Citadel, man. Like, it's just like a shitty school. And like somebody having their jaw wired shut. He ended up marrying a different woman. They looked like they were happy together. I didn't really like. I saw their pictures on social media. So like, good for that dude that got his jaw messed up. And that chick was a complete bitch. Because she did not give a fuck at all. She was excited. It was honestly like one of the happiest I'd ever seen her in her entire life. It's like I spent like every class more or less sitting in, you know, within a few seats generally. I mean, like there's never ever only so many seats you could be away from somebody because it was such a small class. But yeah, we would talk in class sometimes. But yeah, it was like honestly one of like the happiest I ever saw her was the moment whenever he got punched. She thought it was really funny and cool. So yeah, like I see the Citadel as this like place where they have a bunch of dude bros that are like super, I don't know. These are a bunch of hype beast type. I just don't like these yuppies so keen put on a suit and work for a McDonald's salary killing random people. I'll clean up, don't worry. Man, I'm gonna die now. You can't fucking swim in this game. It's garbage. When I was a little kid, I could swim like so well. I don't know whatever happened, man. Like, I really just do not know. At some point, all that stuff just stopped. I'm gonna swim again, but it just never really should have stopped. Same thing like the trampoline. We got a trampoline, then we got rid of it at some point. This is just a joke. Because only a fucking idiot would buy a trampoline and then get rid of it, because it's like an evergreen thing. He's such a dramatic crybaby. I just can't believe it. It's just insane, man. Adults are supposed to have their composure at all times around their kids. It's just like how it is. There's certain things you do and do not do. No matter what age you get to be, it's just like around your offspring. They're not going to cut you any slack. They can't. You know, it's like they could if they tried. Like it's literally impossible. You know, you just can't. There's no such thing as cutting somebody's slack in any scenario. What you do is very important. You don't really get like redos if you have a bad day. If you have a series of bad days. And you're always responsible for the state and condition of your kids as a parent. Like, it never stops me. Like, if somebody, like, if you're like a really good parent, you know, like, I'm just being real. I know it's really easy to have high standards for people, but again, I'm not like trying to do anything I'm not capable of paying down on. That's where most people go wrong, is they try to like, yeah, they try to like do more than they can actually pay for, and then they just get like stuck in a range. I want to make sure that I can place myself where I want to be, because that's more important than anybody. When you're basically a virtual stranger to everybody, there's no point in really connecting with anybody in particular. Like, your odds are, for the most part, money is the thing that you need to be pursuing when you're young, and you're like, nothing else is gonna, like, if you go look at people, you try to attach yourself to people, well, those people may or may not make money. They may or may not move up the social ladder. They may or may not ever be really viable, like, adults, just because they're like young and they have, like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people that you can socialize with at any time. You know, I used to drive Uber. Girls would ask me to go into bars and stuff. Like, oh, just go off shift and come in the bar. I had a group of 4 girls. Like, oh, go in the bar. I'm like, honestly, like, you're really not the most attractive, and maybe her, but also, like, nah, I really would rather get money, and, like, I just don't like the vibe, and also like you're drinking and you're random. Like I don't want, you know, not about to like do that as a driver for Uber. And that was back in 2015, 16. So it's been a minute. But you know, those kind of things, like I did 1,200 trips approximately. I don't remember the precise number. It's been a minute, but it was basically 1,200. It was either like 1193 or like 1287 or something like that. Or like 120. It was like right at 1,200 though. I don't want to just mislead anybody, but also it's been a while since I logged in, and I just don't fucking know, and I don't care. It's about correct. And yeah, I mean that was a whole experience. I mean, I interacted with a whole lot of different people. You know, I would drive single women home, you know, single young attractive women, and I would have conversations with them, but you know, I'm working. I'm not going to like start like hitting on random girls in my cab, basically, right? Well, I mean, like I'll just have like a conversation. Like, yeah, if I would always, you know, it would be unfriendly for an Uber driver not to say something, you know, so you like leave the avenue open for a conversation, but you don't force it, right? So, like, you don't want to come off as rude and not say something to, like, you know, have the option of a conversation. Something that can either be like a conversation or just a polite, like, oh, yeah, isn't it? Righto, you know, they can just get on their phone and like say nothing else, and then you just leave them alone, you know. So that's the best way to go about it. And yeah, I had a lot of conversations with like groups of people too. Like there were, you know, I don't know. I remember I was thinking about Halloween night, picking up that one guy that was dressed as Doug Funny from the Doug animated series on Nickelodeon, and you know that one, I think it's Brock Turner was his name. He was the guy that got arrested for like he was like the swimmer or athlete or something like that got arrested, like feeling up a girl by a dumpster or something allegedly, and he got off, like, as some people see it. I don't really know the facts of the case, so I'm just being real. Like, it was either maybe something or maybe not. I don't really know. Some people can get accused for whatever. But I just find it funny, like, banging on a trash can. That's one of the Doug Show songs. You know, Think Big, combined with banging on a trash can. And I don't remember how I got that joke across, but I made it. Because it was an existing joke to me at the time. They were cool with it though. The girl in the cab with the Doug guy, I was talking about at the time, like, it would be cool to do Air Force. I said, like, I don't know what I'll do. Maybe I'll do the Air Force. I'm looking at that. It would be really cool to do, like, cryptologic linguist. I don't have any horse reviver. This thing, you're just an auto-gen horse. You're useless. Its legs is damaged. I have to do this. They won't even let me shoot it now that it's dead. You can't like mutilate a corpse. Can't mutilate a horse corpse. My favorite thing about this game is that one Onion video where they have the interview on the talk show where it's like this one expert travels across the country only talking about horse abuse in a hot air balloon. And it's just like the stupidest fucking thing ever. But in this game, there's so much cruelty to horses. A lot of the times during the campaign, I just shoot the horses not instead of the people, because it can be easier when there's a lot of enemies and they fall to the ground, and then you deal with them after. You shoot the horses just to do it. The horse just falls out from underneath them. So I believe in a world where basically you just get a robot that has humanoid flesh like this, and then you kind of sit at home in your doomsday bunker and just run around shooting people. It's technological progress. You can't fight it, guys. Sucks to be you, born a human being made of flesh. But yeah, as I've seen it, there's really like, it's just a fucked up social situation for this generation. Like, obviously, I'm somebody who's going to be highly selective in terms of who I'm like going to be like grouping with and partnering with and stuff for just like basically anything once I have like the means of it, just to be blunt about it, you know. I'm not going to just run off of random. You can go waste your fucking life with a million different people doing a bunch of different garbage any type of way. Trying to find something that actually fits with what you want to do is the only thing worth living through. If you're just gonna join some Ponzi scam, like, what's the point? It didn't search. It's like it did that, and then it didn't actually search it. What a majestic creature. So this is why I want to get a horse in real life, so I can stomp it to death. No, not to death, once it's dead. That's humane. I mean, this is your stereotypical American. You just, some douchebag that like stole a bunch of money from a bank or something and then bought a huge house. And he killed a bunch of people in the process. This is as American as it gets.
only thing I live for. Just let me live this one through, will you? Got anything good for me by any chance? Just avoid driving. Gosh, all right.
I trust nobody's missing this too much.
Remember. Hush, hush. Oh no! Oh my God! Help me! No need to act like this. Hellfire! Get away from me!
That's great. What prop comedy. Sweet, I got a new horse. Know what happened to the last one? They're not fall down or anything.
Slow now.
Stay still! You're done for!
Honestly, I'm kind of bored of this, so. To get off of here. About like 32 minutes.